This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the CEO of Power Nickel, Mr. Terry Lynch. Terry, it's been a bit. It's great to have you back on. How have you been?
I've been great, man. It's been a while. It's been too long. I guess we've passed through the COVID era. Now we're back into hopefully a mining bull market. So maybe it's time to reconnect and trade history lessons here.
Well, let's get right into it. Listen, I think you're spot on with your timing. And look, it was a tough resource bear market for quite some time. 2023, is off to the races in multiple commodities. I think by the end of this year, we're going to look back and be blown away by how many simultaneous commodity bull markets we'll have going, right? Different commodities all running at the same time. And so enter Power Nickel, right? I think it's a great time to intro the story. I think it's a really fascinating story. There's a lot of angles that are kind of new to me. And I know we spoke a bit off air and new to you, but I know you're excited about the company and the multiple projects. So I just wanted to have you on. Tell me a bit about what Power Nickel is looking to do, and then let's get into the specifics here in a bit.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously with a name like Power Nickel, you'd expect us to be a nickel, and in fact we are. So we acquired a really good nickel project in just south and east of James Bay, Quebec. And Quebec is a really phenomenal jurisdiction. I don't know if you've done a lot up there, but I believe it's the best jurisdiction in the world right now for searching for battery metals. For this reason, the Quebec government's done a great job with infrastructure, so that the roads are there. Like we're literally off a major highway, our deposit, and right across the road is a major Hydro-Quebec substation. So power is there. There's an airport 8 kilometers away, so it's a little village. So it's very well supplied, and the Aboriginal partners, the Cree, are very pro mining. So you've got good community relations, and all that is sort of good. But the big ticket now in Quebec is 2-for-1 exploration financing.
Yep.
Which is, can't get that anywhere else in the world. So for every dollar I get from an investor, it becomes at least $2 for me. And the drilling costs are very competitive because it's Quebec, lots of drillers. So it's one of the cheapest discovery spots in the world, I think. And with this 2-to-1 financing, wow, it's a phenomenal place for enhancing shareholder value. So we're really pumped about that. Now, I can say to people when I talk to them about the story, I say all that structural stuff and the great incentives and the great government support and the cheap hydraulic power, all that stuff, it's great, but it's not worth a hell of beans if you don't have a deposit. So as you know, in mining, it's all about grade and quality content. So basically, we've got this nickel deposit that starts at surface. It's an ultramafic deposit, and the other ultramafic deposits in Canada, the analogies would be Lynn Lake, which is 22 million tons, and Boise Bay, which is plus 50. Right now, we have a historic resource of about 3.1 million tons. We drilled it. We acquired it about 2 years ago, 24 months or 26 months, and then we drilled the first round of drilling about 15 months ago, like November, December of 21. Had 8 holes, 7 of the 8 hit. The grade was about 1.6% nickel EQ, which is like about 1% nickel, about 0.55 copper, a 0.07 cobalt, and 1.5 grams of palladium. So very polymetallic, quite awesome rock. And the neat part was, sort of showed that historical resource was there, was credible, and which we always thought it was, but you still need to verify that. And then that basically allowed us to sort of develop a model of about 5 million tons, and then we the stock sort of took off. We had financed it at 25 cents and 40 cents in the summer of 21, and then we executed, and the stock went to 30, and then in Canada, the shorters came in and bashed it all the way back, and then of course the Russians invaded, and we went into the nuclear winter of last summer and fall. You recall how ugly it was for juniors.
Yes, sir.
So stock it all the way down to 9 cents and 10 cents, but we had cash and not a ton, but enough to do another drill program, and we really felt confident that we could push it to a commercial status. So for us, getting commercial means you have to have a deposit of at least 8 to 10 million tons. That'll make you commercial, especially with North American nickel. So at like 1.5%. So we basically went ahead, started drilling in September. and again had great response from the drill bit. We told the market that didn't make a hell build of difference. The market still was sleepy, 10 cents, So I sort of went around to my big shareholders and I said, guys, look, the thing's cooperating, but we need to get to commercial status to really, because how it goes in mining. You're a zero, you're not going to be a mine or ever going to be a mine until finally one day you are a mine. You go from a 0 to a 1 and everyone sort of loves you and you get the big price jump. So I said, that moment's going to happen for us because we're going to get to an ore body here, but we got to get there tonnage-wise. So I said, we need to sort of, write some checks, or I got to raise some money elsewise. But I'm thinking, like, when you got to give it away, you got to go back to the guys that brought you and say, hey, guys, look, we like what we see. Here's why we like the deal, and we're going to put our money in. You should put your money in too. And that's what we did. So we raised a round of about $4.2 million in November, an internal round. We stock was 10 cents when we announced it. And we did, use that 2-for-1 thing with the, so we get raised to the, 20 cents, 70% there and 10 cents. Raised 4.2 million. My family and I put $1.2 million in. So we obviously, we believe that this is going to be a mine and made a significant investment. And then we pressed, and of course, Joel's been cooperating. So our last assay that we had out in January had a 40-meter hole of 1.6% nickel EQ. So, I mean, that is a monster hole, a nickel top 5 hole in the world last year. So that's, and you know what? I don't think that's going to be our best hole. I think we've got 3 or 4 other candidates that sort of should be in that range. And nickel is sort of an interesting ore body to drill. You get a fairly good feeling when you're drilling it because you sort of know. Visually, the rock is distinctive. It's this black peridotite rock, and it looks quite different than other stuff we drill when you're drilling for gold or copper. And you can XRF it and sort of know it's charged, and you sort of know. So you get a pretty good sense of what you got. It's all about the width, So we're getting, some, in this one section of our deposit, sort of 10 to 50 meter, chunks of nickel. So that's phenomenal stuff, and that adds tonnage really quickly. So we've been given the street guidance to say, hey, we're doing a full new metallurgical right now workup using XPS, the leaders in that field, and that'll be ready sort of end of April, early May. And then by then we'll be completed our next phase of drilling here, and we'll update our 43-101, and we think we'd be reporting an 8 to 10 million ton project at that point in time on this one pod. And from our perspective, that makes this thing commercial. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you look at other commercial nickel deposits around the world, projects like, you could look at Talon Metals or Premier Nickel in Botswana, or even look at Noron. They basically sell for around $50 million a ton. So that's what the market value is, it seems. And I think that's cheap, but it is what it is. But you take that with us, and we get to 8 to 10 million tons, at that number, well, that's, $400 million, $500 million, and we own 80% of it, critical owns the other 20. Well, that's a big number, and we're like a tenth of that. So if you believe we're going to get there, and we're basically saying we're putting our drill collars and azimuths out there so people can put it and leapfrog themselves and model it. It's not like we're trying to make any fool anyone here with tricks. This is like, we think this is like pretty much a layup, but obviously we have to get it done. But the drill bit is cooperating, and as between sort of now and the next 6 months, as every 2 to 4 weeks we get these assays out, we'll continue to de-risk this, and people will start to see, well, they've got another big hole and another big hole, and it's like the hits keep on coming. So at some point, people will make the conclusion that this guy wasn't joking, and this is going to become a mine. And I think the good news is, this is just the first pod. Every nickel sulfide mine in the history of the world has always been multiple pods. There's usually 3 or 4 or 5 pods. So how do we find these other pods? Well, seismic and gravity, the usual sort of techniques. But we've got something new now. There's been I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's a company out of Australia called Fleet Technologies, and they have this new approach called ambient noise technology.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. It almost looks, these geodes that they put on the ground, they're linked, and they upload to a satellite that Elon Musk put up. And this is how I discovered it. Elon Musk, I think, brought it to Talon Metals, and Talon Metals is where I just saw the press release on new technology that they were using to expand their nickel deposit there in Minnesota and Michigan, the border. And I thought, wow, because these guys are obviously, they're a top technical team, and they're not, coming up with an announcement like that for some sort of stock promo. It's because they feel it can advance the discovery process. So as a result of that, I reached out to Fleet, and I went, got the white papers and got educated on the technology. I thought, well, looks very good to me. But again, I'm not a scientist, so I wouldn't make that decision. So I brought it to my technical team, which is GeoVector. Joe Campbell is an industry veteran. He's been around a number of great successes in his career. And Ken Williamson, who's been our 3D modeler. And honestly, the guys were initially skeptical, as most scientists are. And I said, guys, I get that. Just do the research. And if you decide it's not good for us, great, we're not going to use it. But please do the homework. I'm paying you to do the homework because I read this stuff. Talent, team is top. They would not be doing this stuff if they didn't think it was adding value. So they did the work. 2 or 3 sessions with the Fleet, team, and reading all the papers, and they came away and said, yeah, no, this will be really great. And basically, what it would allow us to do, in sort of layman's terms, is think of it as almost like sonar. They bounce it into the ground, and it comes back with sort of effectively sound maps. Okay, and I guess every mineral has different density and different type of wavelength on a sound map, and so they take that, and then they take it and they correlate. It's highly effective when you have existing scientific evidence. Obviously, we have the drill collars, with the actual results every few meters or whatever. So they can correlate their data with the drilling data and get a real accurate visualization of your current deposit. And then that becomes a signature to sort of see what's obviously around the current deposit. You can see, hey, is there other areas that we can tap into? Is there possibly some deeper zones that we've missed? And then also they can use that signature to then go out, because we're working right now 1 square kilometer, 45 square kilometer land package. So we then go out to the rest of our land package and say, hey, is there other signatures out there? Given the propensity of, every single nickel sulfide mine having other pods, highly likely we're going to find other pods, using these techniques. And then obviously we can supplement the seismic and gravity just to confirm, and then we'll drill, So it's pretty exciting story when you think of what we've already proven that we've got, and where our valuation is, which is like trading at 10 cents on the dollar, and yet it's got all this upside, and the stock is cleaned up. We're finally, broken through, and we've had to, deal with some shorts along the way, and they're an annoying group of bastards, but it is what it is. But one of the things that we're doing there is we're going to be spinning off our copper gold projects in BC and Chile, and that'll be great because in addition to enabling us to sort of provide separate validation of the value of those projects, it also creates a bit of a barrier for the shorts, because physical it'll be on a different exchange, and that will make it more difficult for them to paper over these not delivering the stock. So that'll be problematic for them. But the other thing we'll be able to benefit from is, interestingly enough, the Fleet technology approach has been used. Was first used in West Australia, in the desert there, to develop to explore for copper and lithium very successfully. And I said, well, I know they got caliche in West Australia, so are you guys able to see through that? Because in Chile, that's our big problem, is you got caliche is sort of this mineralized limestone that's at the base of the sand dunes, and it obstructs the seismic and gravity signals. So it's hard to make a regional play in these sand areas, because it's really tough to get through there and get accurate data. Like, you usually have to have blaster rigs to go down and put the sensors down and get the data that way, but it's super expensive. Like, I mean, we're talking, like in Chile, we got 4,000 hectares, 8,000 hectares. Like, these are like the size of the city of Toronto. Like, these are monster projects. You need to have a regional play in them. But the Fleet, they've been able to see through the caliche in West Australia. So after we're done with it at NISC, the plan is to put it into the spin-out company and get down to Chile and hopefully have some luck, there, on the regional plan. So so exciting stuff, all very doable and all sort of tracking. So it's a great time to be, getting educated on that power nickel story, and I think on the nickel space and all that we're about.
I gotta say, Terry, I don't disagree with your assessment of Quebec being, a top-notch jurisdiction for exploration, development, and mining. I think it's really emerged. Kudos to everyone involved there. And then the second thing I gotta say, it's a fascinating story from multiple angles. This power nickel story. What I really like about it is it seems like with all the catalyst and the pretty aggressive drill program that's ongoing, we're going to find out whether or not this sinks or swims within the next probably 9 months. Is that accurate?
Yeah. It's swimming, but we'll also find out if it sinks. But the drilling is ongoing. So it's I think that's very accurate, and I think people can just watch it. And I think that's why we posted the drill collars and the azimuths, because there's a lot of people now that have the capacity to actually model this stuff themselves. I don't know if you ever played around with Leapfrog, Gerardo.
Sure, absolutely. I'm not very good at it, but I've done it.
But what's cool is that there are people out there that used to be bank analysts or investment bank analysts and whatever, who are now running their own money and whatever. And these are like the FinTwit guys. They're experts and they got crazy names on Twitter, but these guys are sharp. Like they know their stuff. They're like as good as any industry investment analyst, and they're able to model stuff. So you can't fool these guys. Why would you want to? Like, just give them the data, let them work it. You know what I mean? And if they can get that data, they'll make the analysis themselves and see that, wow, this looks pretty bloody hot. So that's we posted when we announced the Fleet Technologies deal. We posted hole 23, the drill collars, just to show people the ongoing progress, and like those are hot nickel cores. If you're a nickel guy, you look at that and say that's some good rock. So it's interesting. Yeah, it's pretty exciting time, because you know how hard it is to find an ore body. It's bloody tough. So it's super rare, and so now that we've got one, we're pretty pumped about bringing it home.
I'm looking forward to seeing more results. I'm looking forward to you proving up the tonnage. I'm really looking forward to the potential for a drastic re-rating. And it's great to have you back on, Terry. I'm looking forward to chatting again.
All right, Gerardo. Great to catch up with you, and continued good luck. Ciao for now.
Appreciate the time. Thank you. Hey everybody, Gerardo Del Real here. If you're enjoying the content that you just saw, you can let us know in 3 simple steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share across your network and on social media. Take care, everybody.